Hey, welcome back to my Minimax 1100r build. Obviously my 1100r, as you all know by now. But if you're new here, is modified for a half VW engine. I'll be using a 45 horsepower Scott Kastler built Hummel half VW, which should have quite a climb rate. So that's my hope anyway. So I did one thing the other day when we left off. You saw me get the floorboard mounted in here. I came in, now I'm ready to put the brass inserts for the seat in place. And what I did is I just added a corner block right here, just cut out of some 3/4 by 3/4 material. And I'm going to actually put the brass insert right here in front of that block. So just didn't particularly like the idea of having this only attached at the top here, where we have a primarily, I mean, below this we have more than a butt joint, but right here we just have a butt joint. So personal preference. So now I'm going to mark out where I want that to end up on here, and we'll do the same procedure. I'll drill through with 1/8 inch drill bit, and then we'll come back with the 1/4 inch drill bit, drill for the brass insert, put that in there. Then that'll be all set. And I think what I came up with was like 3/8 back. I was going to go 3/8 back, which is correct, and about an inch and an 1/8 over, or an inch. An inch looks good too. So 3/8 back, and no, I like an inch and an 1/8. So we'll go mark that out here. All right. Back. And then we'll get that center punched. Have to remark my drill bit. Because we're going through 3/8 material this time, so we've got this plus this. We'll go not that far. All right, so I just put a little bit of a, this procedure is simple and no big deal. Just put a clamp there just so this can't move while I'm drilling these. I'm going to be making an attempt to drill these at the same angle, which is going to cant this forward just a little bit. So, all right, so I'm just going to use a board to get this started, and I think it should be a little bit shorter probably. So. All right, so this was the same procedure as before. We drilled our holes, and then we came back and put the threaded insert in the same as we did for the floorboard, and then I drilled through the 1/8 inch hole in the seat board with a 3/16 drill bit, and now it's just time to put the stainless hardware in there, and we'll see how everything fits. I'm confident it'll be good. All right. All right, so I got the seat mounted now. Everything fit really nice, and I will. I think I am going to use the piece of board that I had, the 3/8 for the back panel. This piece here. I think that'll work out. That'll work out just fine. So that'll get hinged in the middle here, right about there. Except over that way a little bit, and it'll just get the piano hinge right here. Still have to make that hinge piece, drill the holes in it, and all of that. So I will take care of that. Round off the edges here in the back. I'll probably just round all these edges off, but mostly this one here. I already smoothed out all the edges on the seat. So yeah, all right, so this cockpit area is starting to come together. So I have once I get in there to set the pedals, I've actually I've ordered my throttle quadrant. I'll have a mixture control. So I'll have throttle, choke, mixture, basically those three functions. Although I'm using a two control quadrant, and then I'll have a separate little push button type cable for the choke. So, but the mixture will be on the throttle quadrant. Okay, so. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up over here, and I'm going to actually get these Glear eggs. It is Easter, but shout out to my wife for letting me spend just a few hours at the shop today. So, so I've got the gear legs here. I'm going to get those the first half of those epoxied in place, and I think I'm going to actually use some. I'm going to use some weights this time instead of staples, because there's quite a bit of area here, and it might be nice if I don't have to actually put that many staples in the gear legs. So Anyway, I will get a couple more weights. I have two kind of bars over here already. I'm hoping my steel guys haven't been looking for that, but I'm gonna go see if I can find a couple more actually, and I'll let them know where they are in case they need them. But I think weight will be a good way to go this time. And yeah, so let me get set up and we'll get that part done. All right, since I've got quite a bit of area to cover with epoxy here, I'm going to use a little piece of that cut off stuff that I made my bearing blocks out of, that UHMW. It's kind of nice because epoxy doesn't stick to it. I'm going to use that as a squeegee to put the epoxy on the plywood, and then I may do the same with these members. Yeah, I'll just figure it out as I go here, but basically we're gonna put that one on there and we're gonna put this one on here, so we'll have to epoxy plywood and then epoxy this wood, and then we'll go from there. Get this stuff all put together, then we can seal the inside, seal the other plywood after this epoxy sets up, and we'll have lots of fun. We'll see how much epoxy this is going to take. I'm going to probably, yeah, we'll just see. I've got plenty of stuff that I need. So let's, I did find plenty of weight, so that's not a problem. So let's knock this out. All right, so in an attempt to stay organized, these little DeWalt boxes, you can get them at Home Depot or other places. They're just like $15, and they work out like really well, and they stack nice and everything. And so I have hardware in here. I have most of it marked on the top side as to what it is, and so it's easy for me to locate. And I ran out of space, so I had to go and purchase some more. Those are 365 428 nuts. These are the 365 1032s down here in this corner. Guys out of place here. That's bag of miscellaneous left over from the last airplane. Just some miscellaneous hardware there. I can figure out what those bolts are and put them in the proper place. A couple more miscellaneous things left over from the last plane, as well as these. So looks like 4-13As. And I've got some other hardware here that I haven't even pulled out of the bags yet because I ran out of space. So I just went ahead and purchased a new one. Which is all right. So my battery actually died, and I didn't realize it before I could finish what I was doing. But anyway, I got those two. Kind of filled up. I've got my bolt gauge in case things get mixed up, which works out really well. So what the next thing I want to do, grab my brush here. Gets pretty dirty in the factory here, so what I want to do is I actually got my shipment from Team, which includes everything else I need from them except for the fuel tanks, which I'll be getting probably in a month or so. Is probably when I'll be ready to. Is where I think I'll be ready to start kind of putting the whole plane together for maybe the first time, but might be, yeah, it'll be something like that. So anyway, I'm gonna grab that box and I'll show you what I got. The box did not travel well. So, you can see the big hole in the bottom. So the first thing I did was just make sure that nothing escaped. And actually, a piece of tubing escaped, but I was able to pick that up at Aircraft Spruce yesterday without any real trouble. So, these are my tires. They are 15 by 6, basically Carlisle's, and so there's an obvious pair of those things. And then the tubes, of course, for the tires. I got a fiberglass step insert for the plane, and I'll be getting that fitted in place pretty soon on the fuselage. Just do a nice job of keeping the dirt out of the plane where you have a step hole there. And there was a bag with some miscellaneous hardware. Some of this has to do with these are for the elevator control cables. These are actually for the landing, or for the tail wheel assembly. And so those are probably, I don't really know like exactly where these come from or what they are, but at any rate, I couldn't tell if it was some kind of I don't think it's a quick release of any kind. No matter what, not really a fan, so I'll probably end up using a rod end instead, but I'll determine that later on. And there's just a cotter pin for the tail wheel axle and a couple cotter pins, and then a couple of what look like 428 volts for that. So, then I got the aileron cables Teleflex cables, and there were no issues here that I saw. Everything appears to be in order. We got those. We got the elevator. Teleflex cable here. And this housing goes with my brake assembly. So I'm just using the standard band brakes. So I've got that there. And then of course for the control stick, the handle for the brake. And there's just some cable for that inner, as part of the brake assembly here. That was just kind of all together. And then got the wheel halves right here. It came with the bronze bushings were already, they're kind of like they're an oilite bronze, and they're already pressed into there, so those are ready to assemble. So I got those, and then the tail wheel, which I believe is actually a Sonic's tail wheel, if I'm not mistaken. And then I got a rod, which is to be threaded on both ends for the steering, and threading on this end is just not really to my standard, so I will actually end up threading. Hopefully there's enough rod here for me to do what I need to do without having to buy a new rod. If I have to get a new one, it's not that big a deal. It's a couple bucks or whatever. But I don't know, just not that pleased with threading on here. And I know this is not easy to do, so I get it. But at any rate, just seems to be a lot of play in the bolt. But I'll thread my own because I'll just feel better about it anyhow. And then the tail wheel assembly. It's actually quite a bit different than I remember the older model being. Bent metal. Just needs a little dressing up. There's some really sharp gouges right here, and but I recognize you've got to hold things and all of that. But I'll just clean this up nice, and this will get rounded off here, and I'll probably maybe round these edges off a little bit on both sides, and then figure out the not completely sure I understand the bolt arrangement here. It's just your basic bolt. I believe this should probably be a nylon lock nut. Sorry about the bolt. I meant nut, not bolt, but probably should be a nylon lock nut there. If that was supposed to be part of the assembly, it didn't make it, so it probably fell off and is somewhere between here and Niles, Michigan. So, and then like I said before, the rod, this axle didn't make it, so the tail wheel I have to figure out. I'm not exactly sure how this is supposed to work, but I have a feeling anyway. So my feeling is This gets cotter pinned in place, and then there should probably be a couple of spacers in here to prevent that. There's no instructions, nothing really pointing out what that's supposed to look like. So if you know, if you know how that's supposed to be, and you can send me a comment, I would appreciate it. There's just a lack of details on that, but anyway, yeah. So this is the tail wheel assembly. I'll get this tube out of here. Yeah. So this pile of goods, just for your reference point, is $1,100. That takes care of everything, like I said before, except for the fuel tanks, and of course my engine will be coming much later. But it's interesting, you get the rod ends for the elevator cable, but you don't get the rod ends for the aileron cables. So not sure what that's about. Maybe that fell out of the box too, not quite sure. But that's okay. If they were the quick release type, I'm not going to use those anyway. I'm going to actually use, 3/16 rod ends anyway. So, okay. All right, so you probably saw on the on the video that I actually, after I put the weights on, I don't know if it's maybe the imperfections in the table or something. I wasn't satisfied with getting a decent clamping of the landing gear leg assembly to the plywood. So what I actually did is I ended up stapling, because it's just a proven method, and I have to tell you that I'm so much happier with the squeeze out, which I was just not seeing at all when I was using the weights, and maybe it would have worked fine if I would have used a lot more weight, but much happier with what I see here compared to with what I was seeing with the just the weights. So everything here looks really good. Seeing squeeze out all the way around, and yeah, it's a lot of staples to pull, but it makes me feel better. So it's a lot of staples to pull. So, but good clamping pressure. I feel much better about it. So no problem. So those are just going to cure. And like I mentioned before, once those are cured, we will go and we will seal this interior part up with varathane, and then we will seal these sections of the plywood with varathane, and then everything else will get epoxy. And when you end up putting this on here, you end up putting it on here, and the whole inside is completely sealed up and waterproof. So, all right. So to recap, we got the seat mounted. So that's got the brass inserts, and that's mounted. I was having a discussion about in the comment area about the seat sometimes breaking. I think the RS10 and the plywood separating in a hard landing or something like that. So I never had a problem with that in the 5 years that I had mine before. But I know I weigh 170 pounds, and maybe the one that broke maybe yours actually, maybe you weigh less than I do, and it broke anyway. But so I'm considering maybe glassing that underneath, kind of putting some fiberglass cloth around the plywood and the RS10, kind of encapsulating it. See if I can't maybe improve that and eliminate the risk of that actually breaking. So we got that done over there, and as you already saw, we got the landing gear legs epoxy together on the one side. So next time we'll be able to continue working on those. Yeah, so that's going to be it for me today, and thanks for hanging out with me. I do appreciate it, and you know, when this is how you do this, you just keep chipping away one thing at a time, and before you know it, you know, little things become big things, and you actually start making really good progress. So, all right, and yeah, hey, as always, I'll catch you later.